Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode. I hope you guys had a great month. Today we are going to talk about March. We're going to wrap everything up and how everything went. The quarter is over and we're going to talk about some wins, some opportunities. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the breakdown of the month on the screen. So for gas, we ended up spending $143.67, which is great. I think our routine has been getting a little bit better when it comes to driving and saving a little bit of gas, whether we're only taking one car or we're leaving a car at the shop and vice versa. For the groceries, I did end up spending $828.21. March was a pretty long month and we are getting a little bit better with our grocery spending, what we're spending our money on. We did stock up a little bit on meat because of where we're shopping. I haven't been shopping too much at Costco when it comes to meat. There are just certain types of meat that I've been getting, but I feel like we have been getting a lot better at cooking. This month, my mini goal was to stop buying snacks, which was pretty successful. There was only one time that I did end up buying marshmallows just to use up the cereal that we ended up with. So I just wanted to finish that off just so that we can remove that from our pantry. So we made some cinnamon toast crunch treats. So I only bought a bag, which was like $1 and like 15 cents or something. But that was great. I really enjoyed it. But because we haven't been buying so much snacks, I didn't need to use the meal plan page as much. So because of that, there wasn't really a lot of things that we were eating or consuming throughout the day. And we found a place that had really cheap meat compared to like Costco for certain types of meats. We're on this like smoked sausage kick right now. We've been eating that specifically for lunches or for our snack time, like in the daytime when we're at work, or we just need a quick snack. That's kind of been what we've been getting. But whether we're at the shop or at home, if we are, depending on if we're cooking, depending on if we have time, we've been kind of making certain meals that are easy. Or I did try a meatloaf recipe, which is really exciting. My boyfriend's dad made it for us and I love meatloaf. I only tried it one time when my coworker had let me try it. So that's definitely going to be something that's going to be added to my recipe book. We already made it once in March and I want to make it again. It has to be during a day when I do have the time to make it, or I'm off of work early, just because we do sleep early at night. So because my boyfriend has to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I do end up waking up with him and I end up staying up in the morning just so that I can get stuff done. That means that we do end up sleeping early. So we try to get in bed by like 8. So there is that huge adjustment on my part, which I'm used to that by now. But it's just kind of like working with his schedule, working with my schedule, and kind of figuring out how we can coordinate our schedules to kind of match our lifestyle as well. So that's still a work in progress, but every month is getting a little bit better, like one month at a time. But because I have been letting my foot off of the meal planning gas, or not preparing or not looking at the meal plan schedule, not preparing for meals all the time, we're usually kind of working with what we're craving that day or what we have, and then kind of making plans for dinner for the day of. So this month's groceries was a little bit higher, but that's just because I did get groceries at the end of the month, like on the 31st of March. So that's gonna be following through for April. So maybe April will be a little bit less. Who knows? We'll kind of see how that goes. So for the pups, I spent $75.94, and these are mainly treats. I do buy treats for 2 households, my mom's and my boyfriend's. So I do buy like biscuits and things like that when, I can't. I spoil the dogs. I spoil dogs very much so. And for my medical update, I thought I was going to be spending $932, but it ended up being a lot less. So that was $708.73. Now my YSA fund did pay for a portion of that, which was $603.25. So out of pocket, I spent $105.41. So for my work, I did end up spending $450, and that was for taxes that I did in the middle of the month. I wasn't expecting to spend that much, but it is what it is. The next one is for home, and I spent $94.95 for this category. This isn't really something that I've been including in my variable expenses, but I guess I should be differentiating between like what I spend for the house versus what I spend for groceries. So whether I'm buying like detergent or dishwashing liquid or racks for like cooking at the shop, those are kind of the things that I'm considering for the home category. But I did end up returning a few of the items that I did end up buying. So the $94 is probably looking at about like $70 at the end of the month after all the returns and stuff. For takeout, we did end up spending $140.51, and that was because I was letting the foot off of the gas for my meal planning. So that ended up costing us some money. This category is still for those times when we don't have enough time. We usually just end up buying food so that we are not compromising the time that we have to sleep, because that's super, super important to kind of keep everything running properly. We'd rather spend money on food than take the time to make it for certain days, especially when he is working those super early shifts, because he does work a 12-hour shift. So he needs to sleep. So I try to make sure that we are on schedule with sleeping as much as possible, because it really does make a huge difference. And part of that reason is this month we did start training a little bit more. So we usually have like a training session once a week or maybe twice, but I did start running this month, which is really exciting. My goal is to try to get to 3 miles nonstop. I've never been a long distance runner, but I definitely want to get to a pace where I can run for more than 3 miles or so if I can, and eventually do some like trail running in the mountains and stuff like that. So that part of the 140 for the takeout was also because if we are having training sessions and we don't have enough time to cook, we just end up like going to pick up something easy, but not anything like we're spending $50 or something every time we go out. I think we ended up buying food like 5 times. For drinks, we did spend $0 this month, so that's super exciting compared to what happened last month, and me making the chai, so that definitely did help for the most part. Now for gifts, I did spend $132.78, and that is because it was my boyfriend's birthday month. Even though I did make some food for him for the beginning of the month, I did make him some like chocolate covered pretzels, but I did end up buying some food for his lunch. I spent about like $45 on that. And then the other part of the gifts is for my mom. A conversation that I had from last year was that I was gonna buy her a sewing machine. And luckily she found one that I was able to pay monthly on. I believe she got it on Amazon. Because she does use her sewing machine a lot, whether it's for business or making me jackets and stuff or bags, I definitely want to contribute in helping her, because that's something that I did promise that I was going to get for her. And luckily, because this is monthly, this is great, because then it's not going to be coming out of pocket for me where I'm going to end up, paying $1,000 at the end of the month. I originally had budgeted for $2,000, but I didn't start saving for it yet. So because this is on like a monthly payment, this is great, because then I don't have to worry about having to put so much money, because I don't really make as much money right now. The last category on my variable expense is for health. I spent $31.19. These are for girl supplies, and my boyfriend did end up getting sick for like a week. So I got some like Dayquil and some Vicks, because Vicks cures all. So because of my medical expenses and the health expenses that I had for the $105.41 and the $31.19, that $136.67 I will be withdrawing from my sinking fund for my health expenses. And I did have that $1,000 medical fund that I did save up for by the end of January. So I still have a couple of funds in there left. Now, if I don't end up using that, I might just disperse that towards the other sinking funds that I am trying to save up for. Currently, I'm saving up for my emergency fund, where this year I want to get to 5,000, and I'm currently under 3,000, which it's moving along. So the emergency fund will be one of my focuses for my savings, and the other one is going to be for another challenge that I am joining, and I'm going to be making another video for that, but I decided to join the 100 envelope challenge. I am gonna do my own spin on it. If you're already doing it, that's super exciting. I'm kind of excited to join this, but I think what I am gonna do, I will be focusing between those two savings challenges, for my emergency fund and for the 100 envelope challenge. But besides all of those expenses, let's go over some wins and some opportunities for the month of March. So besides the mini goal for the no snacks, which was pretty successful, at least 98% successful, but what I am gonna do is, because I did have a separate journal for my meal planning, I will just bring that one page for that week into my main planner, so that way I'm not forgetting about it completely and just kind of focusing on just preparing, try to get back into it again, but just really focusing on just making maybe one meal in a day, if not using the leftovers, preparing for a couple of days at a time at least, and just kind of working on that a little bit more, but not so much a big focus into like gathering different recipes, because we kind of already realized which ones are our favorite. But meal planning has been helping. It's just more of, I don't have to worry so much or focus so much on that nowadays. So besides our mini goal for the month, let's talk about our yearly goal. Now for the finance goal, I did end up closing out my Roth IRA for 2023. I deposited about $300, which I believe was the last of everything that I needed to do. So I deposited that last month, or in the month of March. So I'm completely done with my Roth IRA 2023 contribution. And now we're gonna focus on the Roth IRA 2024. And so what I decided to also do to kind of tackle two birds with one stone is that I'm going to use the funds for the 100 envelope challenge to contribute towards my Roth IRA. So hopefully that will give me about a year and a couple of months, actually about a year, to get to that $5,050 for the 100 envelope challenge. And I'll have more information on that on my next video. With the finance goals in mind, the no spend year has been going really well. I'm still spending on certain categories, but I think what I'm learning is that it is a lot harder to do everything in one go and just kind of give up everything cold turkey. A great way to kind of dip your feet into it is to pick a challenge and do that and focus on that for the month, whether it's going to be like a dry March or no spend January, or focusing on not spending on that certain category until it kind of becomes natural to you to be able to kind of let go of everything altogether. For me, it's, you know, I still do spend money, and that's just because whether it's crucial, but I have been more aware of not spending money when I just don't need to spend money. There are still a lot of opportunities, and because I do have a lot of goals for the year, tackling them still one goal at a time has kind of just been my savior. That's kind of the only thing that I can focus on, so that way I can just like, okay, I can't focus on all of these things, but if I can just, you know, focus on this thing for the month or this for the week, then I feel a little bit of traction to kind of motivate myself to keep going. Because of the whole no spend year, I tend to be harder on myself when it comes to like no spend. So what I am gonna do for April, I'm gonna do like I want to make like a no spend category or page in my planner. So I'll be working on creating a no spend page type of tracker for the planner, so that way at least I'll be able to remind myself what it's okay, if it's okay to spend money on certain things, or it's not okay to spend money on takeout, or what I can do to remind myself, to motivate myself when it comes to like the challenges that I'm facing. So that's going to be something that I do want to work on. And when it comes to tracking, because I mentioned to you guys last time that I was tracking my expenses on my commonplace journal, it hasn't been working, I feel. And because I've been using my commonplace journal for my tracking for my expenses, this month was a little bit crazier because I ended up getting like, you know, 4 extra pages. So for 2 extra pages, but I ended up having 2 extra pages instead of just one, like how it was in February. So moving forward, I am gonna create another list for my tracking expenses for my planner as well. That way I can just have everything that's in my commonplace journal as like my note taking or like ideas that I have. So that way there's no finance related stuff on here. And I probably should have done this before, but this is how I've always done it. So like this whole planner thing is still super new to me. I've tried to buy planners. I've bought Erin Condren's, I've bought like the Happy Planners. I've learned from using those, but I just realized that I'm more of like a bullet style journaler where I would rather create my own templates instead. But at the same time, I don't want to keep creating the templates every month. So I'm just creating my own planner, and if it's something that you can use, like that's awesome. Ultimately, this is something that I need to use myself. So if I can create something and then possibly sell it on my Etsy shop, then that would be pretty cool. So this is just kind of like a dry run for the whole year. This is my experiment that once I can kind of finalize everything that is perfect for what I'm using it for, then this will be like that test run for myself, that if it's successful for me for the whole year, for the month, and it continues on for the rest of the year, then this is possibly something that I can sell. So that's ultimately my goal. But it has been really fun using it, so I'm enjoying this journey. Another thing that I've been also doing is a little bit more of art journaling. I kind of wasn't art journaling too much in February or January just because of the whole season or what have you, but I have been trying to make that into a focus. And because I am accumulating things, whether like if you're like me and you like ephemera and you accumulate like papers, whether you go on dates or whether you go to like a restaurant and you collect the napkin, or you get all these things from like certain places that you go to keep those memories or the memory keepsakes that you have. I'm accumulating these things and I'm not using them, and so the only way for me to keep those supplies low is for me to use them. So that's kind of what I had to remind myself to keep doing when it comes to art journaling. And the art journal that I have is a mix of everything that I want to use it for. There's about 80 pages, and right now I'm kind of just like smash booking stuff on it. I'm not really painting as much. I haven't really gotten into the mood for that, but I do want to still create more pages. My art journal journey for this year has been a little bit on the rocky side, but hopefully it'll start to pick up a little bit more. And because I do have friends who are super interested in journaling, it's going to be something that I can possibly have a community for, whether we're working here at the shop or I'm, bouncing ideas back and forth with them. We're also going to be doing the 100 envelope challenge together, so that's going to be something that will be motivating for all of us, because we can keep each other accountable and we can keep each other motivated to like saving money. And especially for my friends who, let's say, they don't really save money, this is a great way to kind of like dip your feet in a little bit and possibly get them to step in the right direction in the future. So that's really exciting. Besides that, March was great. The end of the quarter has been super exciting. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the next few months. I hope you guys had a great month. I'll see you guys on the next monthly review, and I hope you guys set some new goals, whether it's something small. But other than that, I hope you guys are making progress on your goals, whether you're breaking them down monthly or quarterly. I hope you guys are able to have attainable parts of it so that you can keep moving forward with the next month. And don't feel, and even though for me I feel like I'm still struggling with certain goals, trying to just focus on one thing at a time, so that way I'm not overwhelmed with all of these things that I want to do. It'll all kind of play itself out by the end of the year. So I'm really excited to see what the next few months are going to look like, what's going to be transpiring, what projects we're going to be working on, and our savings challenges as well. So if you guys haven't heard of that 100 envelope challenge and you're super interested, stay tuned for my next video, because that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to be working on as well. Definitely stay tuned for that next video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.